Welcome back to Our Town, where we explore local small businesses and nonprofit organizations here in our community. This week, InCourage's Executive Director, Sara Meier, shines a light on how they support victims of domestic violence and sexual assault. This is Our Town featuring InCourage.
I'm Sara Meier. I'm the Executive Director at InCourage. The legal name for InCourage is Manitowoc County Domestic Violence Center. I've been here for almost 25 years and been the Executive Director for 9 years. The mission of InCourage is to provide shelter, crisis intervention, and supportive services for survivors of domestic and sexual assault and their families, with a commitment to safety, respect, and promoting self-determination. And that is played out in how we provide services to victims by having victims be the leaders of their journey. Staff here are supporting victims in that journey. Survivors get to be the ones kind of steering the boat. Well, InCourage is the only agency that provides services and supports to victims of domestic violence and sexual assault in Manitowoc County. InCourage staff are able to provide ongoing support for victims. There are supports for victims like when they go to court, but that's only for when they're at court kind of thing. We can help people throughout the whole process, helping people move from being in crisis to working through the long-lasting effects of domestic violence and sexual assault on their lives. And we're staffed 24 hours a day, so people can seek services at a time that's safe for them. One of the biggest challenges we face is making sure staff have time for self-care and time off. Staff are prepared for hearing really difficult things and hearing and seeing reactions that are clearly trauma responses. And sometimes the things that we hear and see, they stick with us for a long time. We're also facing significant funding challenges right now. We're in the process of reducing some staff time, and there are some things that we used to have money for that we won't have money for anymore. InCourage provides a 24-hour crisis and information line, a shelter, and for shelter we provide basic necessities for people who are staying here. So food, personal care items, bedding, over-the-counter medication, clothing, and these are all items that are donated primarily. So we really appreciate people supporting victims in that way. Our shelter has 15 bedrooms and they are various sizes. So we can have anywhere from 20 to 35 people staying in shelter at one time. We also provide individual and group supportive counseling. We provide legal, educational, medical, and financial advocacy for victims. We can help people obtain restraining orders. We have services for children who have witnessed domestic violence. We can provide accompaniment for victims in the medical and justice systems. And how that works is we have staff and volunteers who are on call. And when a victim goes to the emergency department at a local hospital, the hospital contacts us. We come and we can stay if the victim wants us to for their forensic exam. And victims also have the right to have someone from InCourage accompany them for law enforcement interviews. And so in the same way law enforcement would contact us, and then we would have the on-call staff or volunteer go and accompany that person through that interview. At InCourage, we work to make our physical environment welcoming and safe. As far as safety goes, our doors are locked, the windows are locked, you have to bring an intercom to get in, and we have cameras at all the doors. We also just try to make the space feel welcoming and have comfortable furniture to sit in, and has enough space for survivors and staff to be in the same space. So our philosophy is that we believe victims' stories and experiences. That in and of itself can be very welcoming to victims because they are often not believed or the abuse is minimized. No one at InCourage is a licensed counselor or therapist, but we provide supportive counseling, validation of what happened to them. We discuss options available to them, and victims choose what options they want to utilize. We offer support groups which are facilitated by staff. But I always think it's wonderful to have peer input in support groups for people to understand that there's other people who experience similar things. Those people can share, if they're comfortable, things that might have helped them. Victims staying in shelter receive case management services as well as the other services I just listed. They choose the goals that they're working on, and then staff help them get connected with resources and help them achieve those goals so that they're able to live independently if that's what their choice is. We also do an assessment for people who are literally homeless or fleeing domestic violence so they can get on a list for housing resources. And we operate a domestic violence rapid rehousing program as well. So that's 2 staff who are dedicated to that program. And that program offers case management and 6 to 24 months of rental assistance. Every victim situation is a little different and they all need different things. We do that by asking people what they need. Maybe the thing that they need isn't something that we can do or that we have funding for, but we should be able to help them find that funding or find someone else who can do that thing that they're needing. We want victims to take things at their own pace, and as I said before, to be the leader in this journey. They don't have to make a big commitment when they come here. They can come and meet with someone and then talk about their situation and their options, and we might not see them again for another year, and that's fine. Just because someone comes to meet with somebody doesn't mean they have to stay here or make a report to somebody or make a huge decision in a half an hour. The victims have to be ready. And for those who are victims of domestic violence, just because they leave an abusive relationship doesn't mean that they're safe. They're actually in more danger when they're leaving. That's when most domestic violence homicides occur. Other ways that we tailor our approach is meeting with someone in a public location if they're not comfortable coming here. We have a couple bilingual staff at InCourage, and we use an interpretation service for people whose first language is not English. Well, it's completely understandable for somebody to be hesitant to reach out. It's a big step for somebody to take, and there is stigma out there about being a victim. So I would suggest that somebody who's hesitant to reach out to call, ask some questions. If you'd rather meet in person, schedule a time to meet with somebody in person. There's no reason to feel embarrassed about coming here or about being a victim. And if you're not even sure if what you experienced was sexual assault or domestic violence, you can ask those questions. That's what we're here for. We help any victim. Victims can be any gender, any race, can have any education level, any income level. Domestic violence and sexual assault can happen to anybody. We can serve minors. Ideally, we want to have their parent permission, so we serve them only limited without that permission. There's a survivor of sexual assault who reported the sexual assault, and the case was going through the court process. Through that process, it was found out that there were other victims of sexual assault in the home. Law enforcement and the Child Advocacy Center and InCourage and other agencies were able to work together to support those victims so that those cases could also be reported and prosecuted. InCourage also provides community education and professional training. We can do presentations and education for any age group on various topics, including recognizing signs that someone is in an abusive relationship or has experienced sexual assault and how they can help that person, healthy relationships, teen dating violence, child sexual assault prevention, which is primarily done in daycares and schools, sexual assault prevention, human trafficking, and workplace harassment. And we're able to really tailor presentations to the group that wants them. Well, we're really excited about Domestic Chef, which is going to be on March 8th, 2025. Domestic Chef is our main fundraising event. People love coming there for the variety of food that they get to have. It's a great way to support InCourage and to support the work that we do. We'll also be having our Sexual Assault Awareness Month Fun Run next April. This will be the 3rd year of that event, and we usually have some speakers and raise awareness about sexual assault as well. We're really grateful for the community support, and because this is really a homegrown agency, I just feel like there's a lot of people who support it because it started here and grew up here. And only 55% of our $1 million budget is funded by state and federal funding. We have an Amazon wish list. We put our wish list on our Facebook page and website. You can attend our events, and we can always use monetary donations. Money is always a need because we are staffed 24 hours a day. You can talk about domestic violence and sexual assault. There are things that happen to the people all around us, and maybe even you. Oppression thrives in silence, and so we really just need to break the silence.
InCourage is more than just a shelter, it's a lifeline. a place where survivors of domestic violence and sexual assault find not only safety, but a community that truly cares. If you're interested in their services, want to donate, or would like to volunteer, visit their website at www.encouragewi.org. If you're in urgent need for their assistance, call their 24/7 helpline at 920-684-5770.